Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's broadcast. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, click on the bell icon so you will get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me on my live streams that I do most weekdays, or outside of my live stream, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you are interested in getting some ideas of the meals that our family enjoys, we created a Pinterest board. There's a link for that down in the description below. You can click on that and see what some of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, it is weigh-in Wednesday. I'd love to hear how your on-scale victories are doing. And then if you're struggling to get started, or you have questions about starting a whole food plant-based diet or with water fasting, feel free to ask me, and I will try to help you out. And for me, the big thing is what choices are you going to make now that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative, which is giving into temptation most of the time. Got a bunch of people checking in saying hello. Rick, Christy, Carrie, Our Tiny Acres, Pretty Girl's mom, Jane, all checking in. Jane says it's 102 in Raleigh today. That is rough. We had a real hot day yesterday, and I did a pretty good job of avoiding being out in the hot weather yesterday. We had a storm front come through tonight and kind of break that weather and make it a little bit nicer here. I am going to switch over to the scale page. We will see if my camera has started to work. It was working and then it wasn't working, and it is still not working. Let me see if I can give it one last shot to connect here, and if it doesn't, then I will just I'm gonna actually take a moment here and switch over to this. Rick says it's 98 in Central Florida. Icky makes me glad you're in Oregon and it's 74 there today. Yes, it was very hot here. For this time of year, it's generally not quite up into the hundreds here, but yesterday it was very warm. And then, like I said, we were worried that we were going to have a big windstorm come through here last night. We had one a couple years ago that did a lot of damage. And so yesterday there was a lot of warnings out about this potential windstorm, but it wasn't very much, or wasn't as bad as they had made it seem to be. Let's try one more time, see if that makes a difference. It does not make a difference. So I am going to go ahead and hop on the scale and just take a photo of it, I guess. So let me do that real quick, and then I can show you guys a photo on the screen. So let me hop up and check. So just kind of a quick recap. I'll still do all of this part of it, I guess. I started my diet in November of 2020. I had a starting weight of 519.8 pounds. I started my channel on that at that time Over the past 20 months, I have had pretty good success with a whole food plant-based diet and some extended water fasting. And last week I had a weight of 309.4 pounds. So that was a total weight loss of 210.4 pounds total. I'm going to go ahead, hop on the scale here, take a photo of it, and then show you guys a photo of it. I think that's going to be, I'll check one last time. Oh, something seems to be working. Let's give it a shot. See. Of course, not everything's going to be lined up here, but move my scale to fix that. Hey, patience was key. All right, let's hop on the scale and see what it is. $308.6, so almost a pound loss, 0.8 of a pound loss since last week. So let's go ahead and update this. And I am really happy with having a loss. I was kind of surprised yesterday when I came in and my weight was a little bit higher than I was hoping that it would be. I'm realizing that I still have my camera attached to that. Let's go back to this page here. So 308.6, 0.8 of a pound lost. I feel really good. I'm very happy with how things are going after we've switched up the diet a little bit, or just kind of making tweaks to the major part of the diet, I guess. And got rid of the nut butters, didn't have any juice or any sourdough bread for the last week. I believe it's been at least a week since I've had sourdough bread. So cutting out all of those things, I think has helped. I know last week I talked a lot about the swelling that I was having around my ankle from the sodium that we had the weekend prior. Most of that has cleared up and seems to be doing well on its own. I missed a bunch of comments here. Carrie said that it was perfect weather today. You swam for a few hours at a neighbor's pool. Got a workout for mom. Anthony's checking in. Hey, Anthony. And let's see. Fantastic. Thanks. Woohoo. Congratulations. The holiday was good to you. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, Rick. It was able to avoid anything that was bad. And then lots of congratulations. Thanks, everybody, for the support. I do have a lot of people watching me today. Everybody wanted to see me hop on the scale and check out that weight. It was great for me to have a loss this week, because I had quite a gain last week though, and I would have been. I was actually pretty worried yesterday, I guess, that I wouldn't have had a loss today, but it worked out. And I did end up, I guess, food-wise, I haven't talked about food or anything like that. I had a doctor's appointment this morning for a regular checkup with my doctor. And so I wanted to get blood work done, and my doctor had the option, if I came in fasted, I could get my blood drawn at the doctor's appointment. So I didn't have any food this morning, but I did eat plenty of dinner last night. Looking at my phone, I only took one photo of food all day yesterday, and that was dinner. I'll talk a little bit. It was kind of a hectic night, but real quick, the dinner was mega veggie chili, one of my favorites. talked about this many times. This is one recipe that we've kind of had since the beginning, and we have made some tweaks to it here, adding different flavors or choosing different vegetables. But for the most part, this is our Mega Veggie Chili. There is corn and carrots, chickpeas, there's bulgur wheat in here, there's celery in here, beans in here, tomatoes in here, maybe bell peppers as well. Lots of different vegetables in the Mega Veggie Chili. I had a couple servings of this last night. And then other than that, the only snacking that I did was pretty much on fruit. I went and bought a bag of oranges the other day, so I had a few oranges, and that was really like I said, kind of the extent of my snacking. One of my go-to snacks is shredded wheat, but we don't have any soy milk right now, so it's been a little bit frustrating not having that. But the same token, I guess, is that it has cut down my snacking overall. Like, I feel like, that I was eating that Ezekiel bread with that nut butter because it was there to be eaten. And had I had to make a choice to actually prepare something, many times I probably would have chosen just to wait till the next meal, because I wasn't really that hungry. I was just looking for something to do. And I think there's a lot of mindless eating and snacking that's happened for me over the years. And that doesn't end just because you eat a healthier diet. You just find yourself snacking on other things. Susan's asking about the doctor's appointment. And it was a good doctor's appointment. It's interesting going and seeing the doctor, because I never went and saw the doctor before I started this. When I was 520 pounds, I avoided the doctor. I had made a comment about something actually. So the doctor, I had a nurse come in and do kind of the heart, the blood pressure, and just kind of quick check with me. And then my doctor had I think like a residence, or like somebody who's learning to become a doctor that's been following her. She had that lady come in and kind of do a visit with me without her in the room. And I got talking to that lady and was very preachy, I guess. I mean, I was giving her all my bits of advice and different things with my weight loss, and kind of she had mentioned that, I think I was 25 or 30 pounds lighter than I was a year ago when I went to the doctor. I felt like it was more than that, but that's what they said. And I'm sure I could dig through the videos and find back when I went to the doctor again. But so they were just asking me questions, and I had kind of talked about the sores that I used to have on my ankles, because you can see the black spots from those sores still. I showed a photo on here, and I just kind of had mentioned that, those are kind of diabetic kind of things. And she goes, "So do you still have diabetes?" And I was like, well, I never went to the doctor to find out in the first place, so I don't know. I likely would have had, I bet I would have been pre-diabetic, I would imagine, depending on the day I went in there and the blood work they drew. But it was neat to talk to this younger doctor, and kind of talk to her about things that she hadn't really had anybody talk to her about. One of the things that I talked to her about was calorie density, and about how, I feel like we are designed to eat 3 to 5 pounds of food. And if you eat 3 to 5 pounds of food at 500 calories, then you'll eat 15 to 2,500 calories a day. And most people assume that would be a calorie deficit for most people, or to eat that range would result in a deficit for most people. But if you end up in your calories to even double that to 1,000 calories, which most of the processed foods is well over that, it's like 1,500 calories per pound, then you end up having 3,000 to 5,000 calories in a day, which puts most people in a calorie surplus. So eating the nutrient dense, calorie dilute foods is important. And so I talked to her about that. The nurse actually, the nurse was the first person I talked to about my weight loss. She was the one who had mentioned the amount of weight I've lost since the last appointment. And I said, well, yeah, I started at 520 pounds. And so then she was kind of like, well, really, what'd you do to lose that? And I was like, I ate a plant-based diet. And she asked me a couple questions. And one of the last questions she asked was, because she asked like no meat. I was like, yeah, no meat. And then, I was like, no dairy. And she goes, you eat carbohydrates? And I go, oh, I eat a lot of carbohydrates. And so like I wanted to push that point home because I think people are so used to this keto diet thing that they don't usually get people saying that they lose weight by eating carbohydrates. There's such a fear of eating these carbohydrates. And there are some carbohydrates that I'm sure you should be afraid to consume. But overall, rice and potatoes and beans are not things that you should worry about having to consume. Carrie says that doctor is lucky that she got to meet me, and hopefully that story stays with her as she becomes a practicing doctor. Yes, and my doctor is really nice. She doesn't eat a plant-based diet, which would be amazing, but she did say that she had met Dr. Esselstyn at some sort of conference, or she went and saw a talk with Dr. Esselstyn. And so we got talking to them a lot, and just how I think that his big push is preventing and reversing heart disease. And so we talked about that a little bit, and she's on board for what I'm doing, but she's not sitting there telling her other patients that they should be doing what I'm doing. Which is fine. I really feel like I'm still in the process of figuring this out, so I'm not too worried about, but I feel like it would help her patients, for them to eat a more plant-based diet, but I'm not a doctor, right? There's a bunch more comments that I missed here. Do I have any numbness in my fingers? Are you asking me that, or is that a question from somebody else? I do not have any numbness in my fingers. The only numbness I ever felt was in my hip. Is it called sciatica? I feel like I had some of that, like where there was a space between my knee and my hip bone where that skin just didn't feel like it really was registering, touching, and things like that. I think that's kind of common when you're overweight, but I have not had numbness in my fingers. Rick has a vegan plant-based doctor. He gets it. Yes, that is great. We did look into that. We did look into it a little bit. Carrie's actually answering. She says, Rick, there is one whole food plant-based doctor in our area. Our doctor is a holistic doctor, though, and is very excited about what we are doing. Rick says that his vegan primary care doctor is Dr. Scott Harrington. You found him on Chef AJ back in November. And then Carrie says that the doctor did ask if we would talk to other patients of hers. She didn't mention that to me, but I definitely would have said yes. It was an interesting interaction. Like the doctor having that lady talk to me one-on-one without her in there was interesting because the doctor knows my story. And I think that she probably had even told this lady a little bit about me before she came in. I didn't focus a whole lot on the water fasting in my conversations with the doctors today, because I think that was a big part of the conversation that I had a year ago, was how I had done a 42-day 42-day water fast, and she was very interested in kind of the consequence of that, or the outcome of that. And in hindsight, I do really wish that I would have seen a doctor prior to starting all this, just so I had a frame of reference with like my blood work and things like that. But I'm not overall too worried about it here. It was a question for me. Yeah, no, I don't have any numbness in my fingers. And then that Dr. Harrington is certified in several states, but you go and see him. He's about 2 hours away, and he accepts all types of insurance. Okay. Carrie's calling my mom out here. Yes, the doctor we use is the same doctor as my mom, and I suppose she probably has mentioned to my mom that she should that this diet would be beneficial to her. Rick says 42 days. Wow, I can't even make it 24. Yeah, it was a crazy thing that I set out on when I started this channel. If you just following along, you might not know on my my whole history on this, but I did start this channel planning on doing a 30-day water fast that I pushed to 42 days. I went from 520 pounds to 430 pounds in 40 days. So I lost 90 pounds in 40 days. And then 10 days later, after switching to a whole food plant-based diet, I was down the additional 10 pounds to make a 100-pound weight loss within like the first 60 days. And so, and then since then, I've been eating a whole food plant-based diet, had pretty good success with losing the weight. I've had really good success with keeping the weight off. So Carrie says that she also cannot do the water fasting. She feels like she would die by day 3. And then Rick says, just give me my potatoes. Shai says that they're 5 days into their, or 5 days is your longest fast so far. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, water fasting, I talked about this a little bit in the private group discussion that I did with Chef AJ. And I feel like that I do get a lot of people asking about water fasting, and I feel like water fasting is a great tool that we have in our belt to help heal ourselves. I think that it's no coincidence that there's a lot of animals that stop eating when they're injured, and it gives your body a chance to recover and heal. And another benefit is with water fasting is that you're not putting toxins into your body. Like if the choice is eating the crap food I was eating before, or water fasting, the water fasting is not only going to be beneficial in helping me heal, but I'm no longer introducing these toxins into my body. And for me, I really like water fasting. I think that it can be beneficial to people if done right. I feel like if you want a mono diet, that might be safer, and you could potentially get the same results, like going on a potato cleanse or potato diet or a juice cleanse. That the big part of water fasting or doing a mono diet or doing a juice fast is the reset. It's not a break from what you're doing. It's not, well, I'm going to stop eating this crap food. I'm going to go on a water fast. I'm going to do a juice fast. I'm going to eat potatoes or rice for a month and then go back to the crap food that you were eating. it is only beneficial to do a water fast if you are changing what you bring in after you do the water fast. So for me, I was eating an awful, crappy, highly processed, high calorie diet. And that water fast was an opportunity for my body to reset, to heal itself, to stop bringing in that crap food. But the biggest thing that I benefited from was not going back to any of the food that I used to eat. It was switching my diet to a completely whole food, plant-based diet. I had done a water fast in 2019 for 30 days. I went from 480 pounds to 420 pounds. I had no plan on what to do when I got done. My only plan, I guess, was that I was going to try to eat a keto diet. That was my goal. Like, I was going to start eating keto. And within a week of that water fast, I was ordering food from a drive-through window that was not 100% keto. It was probably mostly animal-based or had, and within 2 months of doing that water fast, I had gained all that weight back. And then fast forward a year or year and a half later, and I got another additional 60 pounds on me. So that water fast, while I lost 60 pounds while water fasting, did nothing for my overall health. And in some ways, it made it worse because the binging was so bad on the other end. And I now had a new fast way to lose weight. So it was kind of also in the back of my head that if I ever got into a position where I felt like my weight was an issue, I'll just do a water fast. Water fasting was easy. And and so then I kind of had that in the back of my head. And that's one of those things that there's always been that fallback, which is awful because the fallback for most of us is surgery. So you can kind of like, and that's really been my, not maybe my plan A that I want to say is what I'm going to do, but in the back of my head, it's plan F, or it's plan G. Hey, I can just go get bariatric surgery. And I think that mentality of having this ultimate backup plan of being able to go to a doctor and having surgery, or, I can always water fast and lose a bunch of weight. That kind of helps keep you fat because you keep convincing yourself that, well, once it gets that bad, I'll just go see a doctor and I will I'll get the surgery, and so I don't have to worry about it that much. It's not going to be that big a deal because by the time I have a heart attack or stroke, I'll have already taken care of it and had weight loss surgery. And so that kind of same mentality towards weight loss surgery, I kind of developed with water fasting, in that, I can just throw on a water fast for a few weeks and lose 20 pounds. And it wasn't healthy. So, what I would say to anybody that is considering water fasting, I wish you great luck with it, and don't do anything that you feel is harming yourself, and always have an appropriate out. Like if you're going to break your water fast by having vegetable broth or some sort of fruit juice, have that available to you at any time. And this is for super extended water fasts. If you're going to water fast for 3 to 7 days, you can get by with different things than if you're going to fast for 7 days to 40 days. But just get yourself in a position where you can come out of the water fast eating something different than when you went in. you have to make changes in your diet. You can't just rely on not eating to be a weight loss strategy, because it's, water fasting is more extreme than low calorie, but it's really not too much different than low calorie in its effect on the body and your mental state as well. So Carrie says the skin looks good. Is it the plants or the lighting? Thanks. Maybe it's the lighting. It could be the angles of things. I did change up my camera settings in the last week. They were pretty bad a week or so ago. I was having some issues, and actually I was having issues pretty much since I moved to this new office. And then I found that one of my video settings was off. So I hope the video quality is coming through okay for you guys today. I know I need to get rid of some of this beard, but I've yet to do that. So we're kind of all over the place today. I talked about food. I talked about the doctor's appointment a little bit. Everything went really well with the doctor's appointment. I was happy I got to kind of spread the whole food plant-based message to some medical professionals. It's tough though, because a lot of times I know that people walk away from conversations with somebody who eats like I eat, or a lot of you guys seem to eat too, and the first thing in their head is, there's no way I could do that. And I just wish I could shake them and just be like, there is a way you can do it. You just have to be committed. You have to be willing to try, and you have to be willing to eat food that might not be the most pleasurable thing you had. I think that my old diet, every meal was, the goal of every meal was to make it more enjoyable than the last meal. And it gets to a point where you can only get so rich of a diet and so many calories, and you just kind of are just eating ridiculous calories when you live that way. And now it is much more about the food being for my health, not for my energy necessarily, or for the dopamine response, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. Carrie says you should say plants. It's always the plants. Yeah, it's been pretty cool with this whole thing though. And just to be able to get on here, talk about the diet, and not be frustrated by eating too little amount of food. Like there was definitely a version of this weight loss channel where I, could have gone to keto afterwards and been trying to eat a low calorie diet or a low volume diet. It would have been probably similar calories or greater. But the Anthony says that it's the mega veggie chili. That's what gave me the good skin today. I got distracted. I got really distracted by Anthony's comment, and now I can't think of what I was even going at with. I don't even know where I was going. I forgot it. But yeah, it's been a really interesting day. So today I had that doctor's appointment this morning, and then I had to talk to lawyers and accountants. I was doing some small engine repair. I got some, you can't really see it on my hand, but there's dirt on my finger here. There's dirt. You can see there's a little speck of dirt on that one fingernail. And so I've kind of been all over the place. Okay, Courtney helped me out here. So I was talking about how it's good to be able to eat a volume of food and not be eating a similar calorie diet, but a lower volume diet. Yeah, that is really been awesome with this way of eating. And I did not imagine that this would be the way I would be trying to lose weight. And things are really going in the right direction. The not having the nut butters, I got to admit that the food is a little more boring, but you just have to find, good food to eat and have around. I didn't take a photo of it, but I did have some corn last night. It's been kind of a staple in our house, is some sweet corn. So I did have that really late last night because we ended up going to my niece's high school baseball or softball game. And this is maybe one of a couple non-scale victories I could talk about, but just me going to a public sporting event at my old high school I would say is a bit of a non-scale victory. I'm sure it's a victory for Carrie for getting me out of the house. But yeah, we ended up going to a softball game last night. And the way the parking lot's situated, we parked our car and we ended up sitting in the outfield, which means we kind of had to walk around the whole field. And at 520 pounds, first off, I probably would have found a reason not to go, especially with how warm it was yesterday. And if I would have gone, walking all the way around the field would have been incredibly difficult for me to do. And I mean, I'd have done it and I'd have survived it, but I would have been, out of breath and had a very high heart rate. That was a comment that my doctor made. I guess I'm going to get distracted telling this, just going to the sporting event was a non-scale victory. My doctor, when she was listening to my heart rate, she made a comment to her assistant about, did you hear how slow his heart rate was? And I was kind of like, oh, that's funny. I was like, yeah, it's at 55 or 60 beats a minute or whatever it was at the time. And she was like, that's just amazing. She goes, do you work out? And I was like, no. I mean, anytime anybody asks me if I work out, I tell the whole story about how I did a triathlon last year, but I haven't done an actual really hardcore gym work. I did some stuff in December, but I really haven't done a regular routine workout in over a year now, or almost exactly a year now. And it was surprising. So I have a Garmin watch that tells me my heart rate. And that's one of so obviously the watch is great as a watch, tells the time. But the two features of this watch that I ever use is one, the sunset and sunrise. For some reason, I'm more aware of it because my phone has it on it. And like tonight, it's going to sunset at 8:38 tonight, So, but the other feature on here is that it has a graph that shows my heart rate. And so, yeah, she was just really impressed with how slow my heart rate was. And I was like, yeah, I kind of get worried because my watch constantly monitors my heart rate. And when I'm asleep at night, my heart rate drops down to like the low 50s. And I was like, is that a problem? that it drops down so low? And she goes, no, that's great. As long as you're not getting dizzy or lightheaded from it, having a lower resting heart rate's not a bad thing. But she just said it was interesting because my heart rate was that of somebody who she would see in athletes or people that are more athletic than I am. And, and I was athletic when I was younger, and so that might have an effect throughout the years, but that was 20 years ago. But The other thing is that I was a bit of an athlete because everywhere I go, I mean, I'm still carrying 100 extra pounds. And when I was 520 pounds, I was always carrying around 300 extra pounds. So even though I wasn't an athlete, I was still like constantly putting my body through a physical workout. So yeah, going to that softball game, just being in public, seeing people, is something I would have avoided, just because I wouldn't have known who I was going to see. And I hated for people to see me at 520 pounds, especially if it had been a while since they'd seen me. And the last time they'd seen me, I wasn't 520 pounds. So it was good to go to that. There's a few different people. Carrie's talking about, Anthony asked what the price of corn is. It was 35 cents an ear. We are buying it by the dozen right now. It might have been 42 cents yesterday, but yeah, 35 to 42 cents. It's $1.25 an ear where you're at. You get, Rick says he gets 4 for $1 there in Florida. And he meant 2 for $1, so 50 cents a piece. So, and then, we are a bit obsessed with, corn right now. So, and it is the plants, man. It's always the plants. Yes. So that was, kind of a non-scale victory, was going to that event. The other non-scale victory I had today was something that I've kind of been waiting for, and it hasn't happened yet, or it didn't happen until today. But my belt that I'm wearing, I did not wear a belt for a while. When I was up, I feel like the focus on the camera is off after everybody said everything about the camera. The belt I'm wearing. So I ended up not wearing a belt much at 520 pounds because it was uncomfortable. I didn't have a lot of pants that fit that even required a belt. And so I didn't wear a belt for a while. And then as I started losing weight, fitting into some blue jeans that I could fit into, I had to go dig out a belt, and I found a belt. I might even just gonna try to do this real quick just to show it, because nobody. All right, sorry guys, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna do it. It's just taking me longer than I thought. So I went into the storage room and I dug around and I found some jeans that fit because I knew I had clothes that fit. And then I found a belt. And so the belt that I found is this gem right here. It is probably a leather belt. I know it's not vegan. I don't know, maybe it's not leather. Yeah, it says genuine leather, so it's a leather belt. But this was the belt I had, and the belt here. So if you see this, it's a worn out belt. This loop right here on the end, this little hole here, I had to drill that hole into the belt the last time I wore it on my way up, like as I was gaining weight. And so, that is a man-made hole in this belt. That is the loop or the belt hole that I fit into when I had lost probably 100 pounds. You know, it was before I even put on blue jeans or pants that would need a belt. And today was the first time that I was having an issue with my pants and they were starting to fall down, that I tightened my belt up and I went into the last hole here. So This one, oh, my fingers are way off. There we go. That one there. So I went from here over to this one here. So that was my non-scale victory today, because I was walking through the warehouse and they started to kind of slouch down. So I pulled them up. I tightened the belt up. And then it's been something I've kind of been paying attention to, because I've been on that second to last notch for a little while now. And so I checked my buckle, and I felt down the line to see if there was another hole, and there was not another hole. So I thought that was pretty cool that I have gone from my man-made hole on the far end of this belt down to the last loop on the belt. And eventually this belt will be too big, which is crazy to think that it'll be too big. And I'll have to get a new belt, and maybe I'll replace it with something that's not a leather belt, or I'll just keep wearing this belt and drilling new holes in it as I get thinner, and eventually I can wrap it around my waist twice. So, few comments here. So Carrie said that the corn price went down today, so she was surprised that it was 35 cents when she went and bought it today. Focus is good. I'm glad that it looks good on your guys' end. And then Rick says new belts are always a goal. Yeah, Susan said that's a huge victory. Shy says yes. Yeah, I've kind of been waiting for that to happen, and with my weight even being up too, like I'm 10 pounds heavier than what kind of my lightest on scale has been on my birthday. I was right at the 300 or under 300. And to have that still going down is pretty nice. So that, or I'm stretching the belt out more. One or the other is happening. I'm going to go with that the waistline is shrinking. So I think I've talked about enough random things for one day. I really appreciate everybody checking out the live stream and following along with this. I'm happy to be down 0.8 of a pound. I couldn't hit a whole pound. Come on. So I was down 0.8 of a pound, which is great. I've got the food in a better position. Carrie said here somewhere in the chat that she's got a bunch of West soy milk waiting for me at home. So I'll be able to go back and have some shredded wheat tonight. And then, but overall, I think that getting rid of the nut butters has been a huge benefit for me, and is improved my choices throughout the evening. That I'm either choosing something that is a better low calorie option, or a fruit, which is probably still better than the nut butter is for my weight loss. And so I am looking forward to this next week. Hopefully I can see a good amount of weight go down. So I'm going to get out of here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. Rick says, super stream today. Thanks for checking out my streams, Rick. I really appreciate everybody following along. Yes, yeah, you said, Rick says he can't eat nut butters. If he does, it's the whole jar. Yes, that is the way it is for me. It might not be in one sitting, but I'm gonna keep going back to that kitchen table every time I get hungry until that jar is gone. Like that is definitely a thing. So if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. Don't wait, guys. There's nobody that gets to their goals, looks back and wishes they would have started later. They all wish they would have started sooner. I'm the same way. Just there's nothing coming up that's more important than your health. Or if there is something coming up that's important, then it's worth figuring out how to do that event and still eat healthy. I've said this a lot in the past, you know, like if you have a birthday party coming up and you're waiting to not start your diet till after that birthday party, what is going to happen in 365 days when that next birthday party comes up and you've been dieting for 365 days? Are you going to go off your diet to go do that birthday party? Or are you going to stay on your diet? You're likely, if you're succeeding, going to stay on your diet. And so don't let an event that wouldn't knock you off your diet while you're dieting prevent you from starting your diet in the first place. Figure out how to eat or to enjoy these events without the food. You know, there's so much joy that can be had in this life that doesn't revolve around a table. And I think that we have gotten away from that. I think a lot of people think that it's the easiest, quickest way to get joy is at the dinner table. And so that's where they go for their joy. Don't fall for the 2 myths of moderation. The myth of moderate change, the idea that you can slowly change from eating a highly processed junk food diet to eating a healthy, nutritious, whole food, plant-based diet by taking it slow is very, very difficult. It's so much easier to make the decision one time, to clean out the pantry, restock it with healthy foods, and say, I have decided that today is the last day I'm going to eat this crap. And then you don't have to make that decision every day. But if you have the stuff in your pantry, or you're slowly converting from eating that stuff to a healthier diet, you're going to have mental fights with yourself every single day that it's hard to win, especially when you get tired, especially when new things come up. So don't fall for the myth of moderate change. The other myth, the myth of moderate consumption, the idea that eating a little bit of something unhealthy is still okay, is not true. It's hard. Like, I'm eating a little bit of stuff that's healthy, like nut butters and fruit juices, and it's hard to lose weight. So the idea that you can eat a little bit of something that's unhealthy and still lose weight now seems crazy to me. But it was the way I tried to lose weight for years. I tried to eat calorie in, calorie out diets, eating sub 1,000 calorie days to try to lose weight. And our bodies just aren't designed to eat that way. We're designed to eat a volume of food. And by giving your body that volume of food, it makes it creates this satisfaction, the satiety that you can never get while you're eating those low calorie diets. So I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. You all have a great evening.